I'm Shane Nyland, and my co host is Blake Musser. And these stories you're about to hear are from Weapons Company, 2nd Battalion, 4th Marines, 1st Marine Division, about the events surrounding and directly from the mouths of the people who were in Ramadi 2004. All right, well, let's start with the easy shit, man. Tell everybody who you are and what rank you were and who you were with in 2004.
Okay. I am Michael Bundeson, retired chief after 24 years. When I joined Mach 2, I was an E3. I was an HN. I was a boot. So that was my first experience actually being with a true line company and stuff. So other than that, it was just pretty much just like kind of going off to FSSG is what they called it back in the days, which is like a service support group. And then I went to Edson Range, and that's actually where I got MAP from. MAP is a medical augmentee program.
Okay.
That's where I guess during that time, like when this whole thing actually erupted in '04 or '03 and '04, they were hurting for bodies to actually, fill in for the line units. And I remember they were asking for volunteers. And during that time, I didn't have anything. I was just like, I was by myself. I didn't have no kids, didn't have didn't have anybody, no attachments whatsoever. So, lo and behold, I raised my hand. So volunteered.
So you were the corpsman, you were the medical for Edson Range before you came to us?
Yes. Yeah, I was a corpsman over at Edson Range over at boot camp. So
I don't think I knew that. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I was one of the field corpsmen over there, and from there I went to 2-4, and that's where basically I joined up with the guys.
When would that would have been in 03, you said?
That would have been in '04.
Oh,
I think it was it in no, that was in was that in '04? It was like right before you guys left to that deployment. So I didn't even get to go to CAX. I didn't get to go to anything. It was just like they dropped us off. I think you guys just got back from a workup, and we left pretty much right after that. So
yeah, I think we picked up Bundy. My memory serves correct. It was either late January or early February.
Yeah,
like he was with us.
Oh, like right after what? So what you're talking about is right after March Air Force Base.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh shit. That.
Yeah. Yeah, I was fresh. Yeah, I was brand new. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anybody. Like I went in there, didn't know what to expect. I actually came over there. My cameras were all starched. I had creases on my.
You're
I was a boot
camp. You're a boot camp fresh, man. That's good.
Yeah, I still had my boots all polished up. Like it was nice, dude. But then
you're making introductions as you're in the sticks to get onto the C-130.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn dear.
Oh, that's a story right there. That C-130. Fuck that thing.
Yeah, go for it. What do you remember of that?
Well, I remember just this thing was fucking packed. So right before I left, I knew I was gonna get deployed to Iraq. So what I did is I raided the pharmacy over at Edson Range, right? So I took all the medications that I needed. It was a whole sea bag worth of medications and medical supplies, right? Enough to actually last 2-3 years, right? So I had all sorts of stuff in that sea bag, and we actually ended using all that stuff up. I only had like a quarter of that bag left when we left country. And on top of that, I ended up giving the rest of it to the corpsman that was actually relieving us. So I just left it over in the hooch for them to actually take advantage of. But yeah,
that's a perfect devil doc story. I love it.
Absolutely,
just like a Marine, steal the shit out of whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, majority of my medical supplies over there, all my high speed stuff was from the Army.
Yeah. Now I'm
Love it.
curious, when you were going through the lockers at Edson Range, what did you think was going to be important? What medications did you grab and what supplies? I mean,
Well,
obviously gauze and that kind of stuff all
yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense,
yeah,
but what
yeah.
kind of medications did you think you were going to need?
Oh, dude, I had all sorts of stuff. I didn't really know, so I just started grabbing a bunch of shit. I had atropine in there for
Nice.
some reason. I had atropine in there.
Nice.
I had a lot of like crash cart medications. I
Okay.
had a lot of like regular sick call medications, like just regular stuff, Motrin. I had Phenergan, a lot of Phenergan, so that actually came in handy
Yes.
one day. So what else did I had? Muscle relaxants. I had a whole bunch of different stuff that I actually got, and it was in bottles. It wasn't just like packages and stuff. It was actual bottles of it.
Nice.
So I had like 6 bottles of Motrin, 3 bottles of naproxen, you know, just a whole like I had. I think during that time they were just introducing Mobic, so I had bottles of that,
Nice.
um, and then I had Haldol for some reason, haloperidol. Yeah.
just in case somebody went psychotic, you could help them
Yeah.
out. That's good. I'm glad we didn't need that, but I'm glad you
Yeah.
had it if we
Exactly.
did.
Yeah. Yeah, but I had a whole bunch of stuff that I actually took with me. So I had 2 sea bags, right? I had one for my gear, one for the medications and medical supplies, and obviously I had my rucksack, which is all filled to the brim with all that stuff. All the gear, all the issue gear pretty much went into the rucksack and the sea bag. Didn't need anything else. So um, yeah, so hopping on that plane from March Air Force Base, right? That's where we left at, right? March Air Force Base.
Yes.
Yeah, dude, that plane ride was fucking ridiculous. I was like, luckily I'm short, right? So my knees didn't really like hit anybody's like nuts across across the street. I
Yeah.
mean, across the jump seat from me, and it was like I was a small guy, so it was like shoulder to shoulder, like sitting there on this jump seats, just on that plane ride. I don't remember how long it was. It was like a few days that we actually like rode on that that plane because I know it broke down in country. Actually, it broke down.
Yep.
We ended up like getting down to one of the Air Force bases, and we stayed there for a day or two, I believe,
Yep. We
and
were
then
in
hopped back.
we were in New
Yeah,
Jersey for 2 days.
yeah, and hopped back on the actual plane. And at that time, everybody had, you know, Air Force food, and everybody was just like chowing down and shit, right? That's when everybody got sick. So the person to my right, the person to my left, the person in front of me was like actually puking, and everybody had to like shit. So everybody was like fucking had diarrhea. I don't know what, and then it started spreading in that plane. So I had what I think 4 bottles of Loperamide, right? At the end of that flight, I had 2 left. So that's how much I was giving that shit out. So it was insane. I was like giving out Phenergan. I mean, I was giving out a whole bunch of shit. So yeah, it came in handy. Luckily, I actually did, raid that shit.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So, so in general, like if you wanted to grab, like obviously, being in the infantry, I don't know what it's like to be a devil doc, but uh, like how do they kit you out? Like for the medical supplies, if you wanted to have grabbed all of that stuff, where like is there like a basic loadout that they give you, or do you have to
There
make it up
is.
yourself, or how does that work?
There is, but the basic loadout that they give you is barely anything because it's the whole thing was just it's in its infancy, right?
Yeah.
So they don't know exactly what to put in those medical kits or medical bags. Nowadays, they actually, I think on my either my second or third deployment over there, they ended up having this whole med pack. It even had actual like stretchers on there, a foldable litter, a foldable stretcher. It
Cool.
had a whole bunch of different stuff already packed in there, all for trauma, right? The
Mm.
stuff we got was they didn't even give us a med pack, really. They give you a bag and then you're just supposed to load up whatever you want in them. So we ended up like acquiring a lot of our stuff. They did give you like gauze and stuff like that, but it's only onesies, twosies. It wasn't a lot, you know.
Did you
So
load? Did you get that before you got on the plane, or once you got to like Camp Victory?
before we got on the plane. So
Okay.
and then when we got into country, when we got into Iraq, that's when they actually started getting a lot of supplies. That's when started getting the money. So
Oh,
all these supplies started coming in, and we started rating that stuff. So
yeah.
at that point, we already knew exactly what we needed and stuff, you know. So it's kind of going in there blind. We didn't know
Yeah.
exactly what to expect. So the basic kit that we got during that time, even I think now, because they give you the small pack nowadays, it's barely anything in there. I mean, it's enough to actually probably save, I would say, one life, I guess, like maintain their life until they actually get to the operating table, just for one person, really.
Hmm.
And then after that, you're pretty much like stuck. Yeah, if you don't have any more supplies, you're fucked. So my deal is I had what 3 bags, I think. Yeah, I had 3 bags. I had my main pack, right, which is gigantic. It was like a big ass. It's probably the size, half the size of a full rucksack.
Hmm.
And then I had my CTB bag, which is the one that slings across your body.
Yeah.
And that one right there is just like, stuff that you need like right away. It had your morphine in it. It had all the stuff that you need to actually, treat bleeding. If you wanted an IV in there, then you have an IV. But at that point, I have my IV in my main pack. So I usually stay close to the truck. So whenever something happens, my bag is readily available. So, but now when I went out on deployment the second time, I learned a lesson from that, and I started putting med pack on every single truck that I had. Every single
Oh,
truck had a full loadout. Like
Yeah.
that's smart.
like yeah. So wherever truck was close to me, I'll just grab a med pack on there because I know exactly what's in the med pack. And that's another thing too. As far as like the med pack that you have, you got to know what's in it, right? You got to memorize exactly. You have to be able to actually grab that stuff when it's dark, you can't see. So it's actually, best practice to just do it yourself, like pack that stuff up yourself because you'll
Yeah.
know exactly, where to reach at whenever you need something. So yeah.
That, that's fascinating. Some of our other conversations, we've brought up the fact that, early '04. I mean, you were mentioning it here, and I just want to expand upon it, is the idea that we went over before there was the updated tactics, updated philosophies, updated gear and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
so, 2.4, Ramadi '04 was just the age of invention. We were coming up
Oh
with it
yeah.
on the fly.
Oh yeah.
Can you talk a little? I mean, you already just did, but I find this fascinating to think about it from the corpsman side of the world. It never occurred to me to be like, well, you guys were also having to swing for
Yeah.
the fences
Yeah.
because you also hadn't had that kind of intensity since Vietnam, Korea.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the gear that we had, it was a testing ground. Like it was basically, there's just so many injuries that we actually get over there, different types. I mean, I've had malaria. I had a broken jaw. Those things right there is not something that you really prepare for.
Hmm.
Um, so it was kind of like a testing ground of what we needed in our medical packs. It was whatever it is that we get and stuff like that. We use or try to make up you know something to actually treat an injury. Like I think I've seen somebody use an MRE box to use as a neck brace at one
Oh yeah.
point. So
Hmm.
um, it's just a whole bunch of different things. Like I've used MRE heaters to actually heat up an IV. Like
Sure.
for
Huh.
yeah, for a cold injury.
Huh.
I've dug up like let's see, I used the poncho liner, not a poncho, to actually dig a hole in the ground and drop it in there to make an ice bath to actually jump somebody in there whenever they're getting a heat injury, like just a whole bunch of different things. I mean, I've seen somebody use a ratchet strap to actually stop bleeding.
Yeah.
Those are the things that you actually, you kind of have to make it up as you go and try to be as inventive as you can to actually try to save somebody's life, So,
Absolutely.
and it's not something that's like readily available to you. I think it wasn't until 2 deployments after, Ramadi that I started seeing King LTs in there.
Oh yeah.
In the med packs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What's that?
King LT is
King LT, yeah. Go ahead.
You're the doc, man. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, bro. Yeah, I got
it. King LT is a type of supraglottic airway, which basically means you can stick it in blind in someone's mouth. And for 99% of people, it will seat in a way that you can deliver direct ventilation with like a bag valve mask, or you can blow into it if you want to just do mouth to tube or whatever. It's a way to keep somebody breathing when they're not breathing on their own, or if they just can't protect their own airway because they have facial trauma. It's another good way to just shove it in there to kind of ensure that as the swelling goes up, there's something that makes it so you can get air in their lungs.
Exactly.
Huh. Yeah. That would have been useful for a couple of our guys.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. We even had like what is it? What's the tool that you actually use for regular ET tube?
Laryngoscope?
The laryngoscope. We actually had an in-clinic laryngoscope in a bag, in a kit that you can actually take with you. Now they actually have the portable ones, which is nice. I actually have like a set in my house right now. So, but yeah, it's amazing the stuff that they have now. They even have like back then the stuff they gave us was quick clot. That shit is so damaging to the surrounding tissue. Whenever you give somebody a quick clot, it just burns everything. So they started developing the stuff that is made out of shrimp shells, and that stuff right there, it's amazing. Now you put it in there, it actually goes into the actual injury and just kind of stops bleeding in each and every single orifice that's actually open stuff. So, and it doesn't do any damage whatsoever. So that stuff you can actually wash off whenever the person is on the medical table, is on the surgical table. They can just wash it off and actually like start working on this person without any damage whatsoever to the tissue around it. So it's pretty amazing the stuff that they actually came up with now. Yeah, the shrimp shells, like they found out that people that are allergic to iodine or shellfish, right, is only allergic to the meat of the actual shrimp, not the shells itself. So the shells, the powdered shells, whenever you put it in an actual injury, the blood itself actually, it absorbs the blood and it kind of acts like a foam to where it just seals off everything. It's amazing stuff.
Is it kind of like a coagulant, or is it?
It's definitely a coagulant. Yeah, it's a coagulant. So yeah,
I can get real nerdy and tell you all the steps, but I
won't. So I mean, obviously, you don't want to put it in like arterial bleeding. It'll just like just kind of push that clot out really easily. So you have to slow it down first. You have to put your tourniquet on, put that stuff on, and then slowly release. Whatever, to actually work on the person. So it's great.
So along those lines of the tactics, we were able to go to a couple different division schools. Obviously, if you were a boot and coming off of Edson Range, I don't know is it the same case where there's like special schools you can go to get you spun up? And were you able to do any of that before going over to Iraq, or were you just coming?
Well, no. When I was in Edson Range, the schooling that they offered wasn't really a lot. So they did like prior to, because I'm an 8404 quad zero. Now it's a different NEC that they actually have now. It's like some crazy 95 or 82 something. It's something else. But 8404 quad zero is a combat corpsman, so a field corpsman. Those are the guys that actually go out with the grunts, go out with the Marines and actually, so they get special qualification, and their training is centered towards trauma, combat trauma. So Also, prior to that, when I was in Okinawa, I actually went to EMT school, EMTB, and then I got qualified as an EMTI, as an instructor, EMT instructor. So
So yeah,
I
that's
did
the
that.
same. That's the same as like it's almost the same level of training as a EMT in the United States as a paramedic.
Yeah,
EMTI, the only thing you're missing is just some of the advanced cardiac care, but for the most part,
yeah,
you're like
absolutely.
90% there to being a paramedic.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, yeah, that what people have to understand is like the civilian side of the training on EMT and like you'd be surprised actually how many corpsmen actually fail out of EMT school.
Hmm.
The reason why is because their mentality is geared towards trauma and combat.
Right.
So their triage and their mentality is totally different from a paramedic.
Sure.
Paramedics, they're limited to certain things, and they always think about like, person is going to survive. They need to be able to get that person in the rear as soon as possible, which is just pretty much the same concept. But the separation is basically the mentality of keep as many Marines, as many guns as you can, right? That's the mentality of corpsmen. The combat medicine aspect of corpsman training is okay. When you triage somebody, who do you go first? You go to the person that you can actually put on a gun as fast as you can to treat, and then you send them out.
The
Now,
best medicine
EMT,
is fire superiority.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's
So,
I love this is good. I love this conversation, man. This is fascinating.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, the mentality is totally different. So a lot of corpsmen actually fell out of EMT school, because the civilian side of it, they look at it as like, well, no, that's wrong. We were taught this way. So you have to, have a different mindset going into that in order to actually pass the course and stuff. So it's pretty difficult trying, like, in course school, they drill it into your head, this is what you need to do. And next thing you know, you go to EMT school, it's totally different. They're like, oh crap, wait, I have to actually call somebody to give them an IV. What's going on?
Right.
It's weird.
Not
Well,
just not just string a 550 cord and drop a bunch of IVs and a bunch of people because it was a little too hot outside.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, the
Yeah.
populations are different too. As a combat corpsman, you're treating mostly 18 to 20-year-olds with a traumatic injury, and as an EMT, you're mostly treating
Yep.
grandma and grandpa
Absolutely.
having a
Yep.
heart attack or a
Absolutely.
stroke. Like
Absolutely.
it's just not the same focus at all.
Yeah. It's a different world. It's a different way of like looking at things and stuff. So yeah, I mean, you're able to tell a Marine to like grab a straw and suck it the fuck up. You won't be able to tell that to say that's a civilian. Nope. I mean, in fact, you get your license yanked right away.
Yeah.
Here's a new pair of socks. Here's your Motrin. Walk on.
Exactly. So it's totally different.
So do you feel like you had like even though the tactics maybe weren't there and maybe the gear wasn't completely there, do you feel that you were knowledgeable,
Prepared.
prepared, going into Iraq in '04?
So the basic knowledge that I had that we had is really good enough to be able to actually like carry you through a combat scenario like that. But a lot of those things you learn as you go. Like when I was throughout the whole deployment, my mind was going 1,000 miles an hour. Basically, what's going through my mind is different scenarios, right? Different scenarios of injury. It kind of messed me up a little bit because it's like you're using a Marine, like one of your guys, to actually go through a scenario. Say, for example, one of the scenarios will be like, okay, if this guy has a traumatic amputation of the right leg or traumatic amputation of the right leg, what do I do? What's my next step? What do I grab? So you have your med bag memorized, right? So this is what I grab. This is what I do, and those scenarios are constantly going on in your head, like every second, even through patrols and stuff like that. Like you're in the truck. I'm in the truck, like looking out, like keeping an eye out, having my head on the swivel. and my mind is racing, going through different scenarios all the time. Especially when you know you're about to get into, into a firefight. There's times where, and for a fact you're gonna get into a firefight, so your mind doubles. It like the speed doubles in your mind. You just like go up and like, okay, what's gonna happen if I get like somebody gets disemboweled, or somebody takes a bullet to the neck. Those are the things that's going through your head. You want to know. It's basically kind of like I guess practice for you to be able to handle a scenario when it does actually go down. I have gone through all certain types of I've gone through all types of like scenarios in my head that I covered pretty much everything. After that, at the end of the deployment and stuff, because I would hear about injuries from other platoons or something like that. I would play it in my head. Okay, what do I do during that situation? And that would go on my head like repeatedly, all day for that whole day until, I actually get it down to like, okay, so when this happens, it's going to be muscle memory that I actually do this stuff. So
now I'm going to give you a little bit of credit, because if that was your level of stress and your level of mental load, I had a high cognitive load as leadership as well, but I certainly didn't have that level of medical planning, mental load in the deployment. From the outside, you looked very happy. You were one of the happiest fucking dudes I can remember. Literally every day. Smiling and jokes and dancing around and having a good time.
Yeah. That's how I dealt with it. So
that's good. Your outward facing persona was the opposite of what you're describing that your inward monologue was doing for you.
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't show that. I couldn't show that like specifically during like when one of our guys get hurt. I can't be freaking out. Like,
right.
Just imagine a corpsman. Yeah, just imagine a corpsman freaking out when you got a bullet going through your chest. I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah. Oh shit! Anybody know what to do?
Yeah. Can someone call a corpsman for the corpsman? Yeah, that doesn't work.
Can we time out for a second?
Now, on top of that, just to lay an extra layer on that, what kind of weapons training did you have prior to that deployment? Because you came to us so late. And one of the things I remember being at least jarring to me from a planning standpoint was we're short people. Mm-hmm. We need to add as many guns to this platoon as possible. We're issuing the Corpsman rifles. Like you guys are, and we weren't going to initially, but Gunny Merarkey comes over and he grabs us all aside and he's like, we're not getting any replacements anytime soon. He's like, we've all had a command, whatever. He's like, I have more rifles. We're given the Corpsman rifles. They're going to be in the stack. They're going to be shooters. If you enter a house, they're going to be in the stack. And I was like, fucking okay, great. I don't know that our corpsmen have ever done that. So now I'm curious, did you have any weapons training prior to that?
FMTB actually took you through weapons training. That's about it. No, nothing like a CQB or anything like that. I learned that in country. Just by observing you guys and doing those things. I'll just jump in to whatever you guys are doing and, learn it as I go, Other than that, there was none. There was no type of training. Navy boot camp, they just started actually doing this now. This is where they're actually taking them to rifle and pistol calls. When I was in RDC, well, it's a drill instructor for Navy. I push boots and they actually started doing rifle and pistol qualification in there and stuff. And I was like, what is going on? Like it was weird. When I went through, I didn't do any of that stuff. The first time I ever actually got any kind of weapons training is through FMTB. So FMTB taught me, the basics of weapons handling. After that, I learned through experience through you guys, what I needed to do in certain situations, like, close quarters combat, all that stuff. It was just like, I took everything that you said and it was gold to me. Like I learned everything that I kept everything, that you guys have taught me throughout my whole entire career. So, because it's needed, it's really needed. Like you said before, we're running low on personnel. And funny story is like, when I first got there, I remember my TO weapon was a 9mm.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the only thing we can have. And I'm like sitting there, like looking at this thing, getting into those firefights. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing, dude? It's like, I got a fucking pea shooter and these guys are fucking shooting at me with fucking, sniper rifles and like RPK. And like, what the fuck, dude? And so I started talking to the gunners. Gunners want a 9mm. That was their thing. They wanted a 9mm because it's so easy to actually take out and shoot whenever an enemy gets close, right?
Yeah.
Instead of like shooting a cruiser weapon where, if you have enemies so close to you, firing a Mark 19 is not really going to be conducive, to.
It's going to hurt, but it's not going to hurt
a lot. Yeah. So I started trading them. It's like, hey, you want my 9mm? Let me get your musket. Your what is it? M16A.
We had M16A4s.
A4s, yeah, these giant fucking weapons and shit. I was like, I'll take
full length rifles, yeah.
Exactly. So I started training. I think Webster was the one I was traded with. Calais, I think Calais was he was on the gun, right?
Calais did both. He was gunning and driving. He drove quite a lot.
Yeah, I started trading those guys and stuff like, hey, you want my 9mm? I'll take your your rifle and stuff. So JD was getting pissed off because I had a rifle walking. I was like, what the fuck are you doing with a rifle, dude? I was like, no, I'm not going to get fucking stuck shooting the fucking, shooting the pistol. He's like, no, you're not combatant. It's like, yeah, okay.
I bet the enemy would have adhered to that rule too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When they told me, when JD came up, he said, hey, Doc, come with me. I was like, what the fuck is going on? He's like, am I in trouble for the fucking, for the rifle again? Takes me to the armory. He's like, pick whatever you want. I was like, fuck yeah. It was like fucking, I was happy. I was like grabbing all sorts of different shit. I had like fucking like 20 mags. I was just like putting in my pocket, putting in my drop pouch, and putting in my cargo pocket. Like I was just loading up, dude. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
So after that, I got my own rifle. The 9mm, whenever the gunners like needed it, I just give it to them, But ended up towards the end of deployment, they started getting 9mm.
We did. Yeah, we got a case of 9mm in July or something like that. Yeah, because I finally got one too.
Yeah, it was a learning curve. It was a huge learning curve and stuff. So my mentality is back then is like as far as like having a rifle is preventive medicine, right? Preventive medicine is like you shoot them before they shoot you guys. Right? You can't do that with a 9mm.
Yeah. Well, especially not the old. You got 2nd Battalion, 4th Marines Armory issued 9mm, which had 50,000 rounds put through them, and the barrel rattled, and so it would probably the bullet's going to go somewhere in that direction. Yeah, it's not gonna hit what you're aiming at.
Yeah,
you can almost hear the bullet rattle down the barrel.
It's our area targets.
Yeah,
and that's one thing too. Like, I want to give advice to the corpsman that's out there now. It's like they always like try to use medical as a scapegoat to get out of things, right? They'll come up with different, they'll come up with different reasons not to actually do things that the Marines are doing. But if you actually do the things the Marines are doing, you'll know exactly what they're going through and you'll appreciate it a lot more. I was doing watches. I was doing truck watches. I was doing watches up on the bridge.
Yep.
I was doing everything that they did because it's a way to actually help them out too. Because I'm one more person to be able to do those things so they can get rest. It's like it's one of those things. Like be part of the platoon, not this person that's special or whatever. Like when it comes down to it, lay down some rounds. When somebody gets hurt, put your rifle down and treat them. That's basically what you need to do. So it can't just be one mindset. I've seen people just sit in the vehicles the whole time waiting for an injury to come in. It's like, fuck that shit, Like that vehicle is it's a giant target. So there's no way I'm going to be sitting in there the whole time. So I'll be dismounting, might do my 525s, get the fuck away from the truck.
You did
Right.
mention that you would hear about the other injuries from other platoons and whatnot. But
Yes.
did you hook up with and sit down with like Hinkle and
Oh
Contreras or
yeah.
Rakebrandt and stuff like that and be
Oh
like,
yeah.
all right, let's figure stuff out?
Oh yeah. Constantly, constantly. Well, not figure stuff out, but listen to their story. One, it's good because it actually they're able to actually kind of decompress by telling the story and stuff like that, and you're able to be there for them and say help them through it because they just went through that, and their Marines are still going through that, and it's a very emotional time. So being able to sit there and listen to their stories, just sit there and listen, you're able to help them out. And on top of that, you're able to learn from those lessons and actually put that into your little toolbox, later on. So say, okay, so that happens. This is what I'm going to do because either this is what they did and stuff. This is what they saw. So those scenarios starts back up again. The gunner height IEDs, those are fucking killers, right? The gunner height IEDs, the gunshot wound from shoulder to shoulder, that was a good one. That took me a while to figure that shit out. Like entrance wound, what is it? Entrance wound on the right. No, I'm sorry. Entrance wound on the left, exit wound on the right shoulder. Just imagine the damage is caused on the way
Yeah.
out. So what do you do in certain scenarios like that? An arterial bleed right on the groin area. That's actually a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
After that, I started carrying hemostats with me and stuff like that because those things are, they're gold. That stops bleeding. Just grab it, make sure that the actual artery doesn't like retract because it will spasm. So right before it retracts, grab that too. They grab that and then put a hemostat on there to stop the bleeding. Because the groin area is an area where it's hard to get to.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
That was the wound that was made famous in the Black Hawk Down scenario.
Black Hawk Down, yeah,
They covered in the movie,
absolutely.
but that a whole bunch of, and I imagine you probably learned this at some point,
Mhm.
a whole bunch of military medical SOPs all changed after they went over and over and over. They were like, this guy
Yep.
would have survived easily had we been able to control
Yep,
that bleed. And there was a whole bunch of different
absolutely.
devices that were invented to try to figure
Hmm.
things out. And a lot of them came back to exactly what you said is if you have to cut down and clamp that
Exactly.
artery with a set of hemostats
Exactly.
was what they came down to.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's pretty amazing all the things I've learned. Actually, I took all the stuff I learned from our deployment and carried it on through my career. I became a combat trauma instructor. I started training Marines, even in country too. I started training like for my platoons, every single person. Well, I was doing it when we were over there actually. Like every single person, I trusted that they'll be able to actually save my life if I go down
Mm-hmm.
because the training that I gave them, I feel confident that they'd be able to do that and have no problems doing it.
Yep.
It actually happened during that one time with I don't know, it was Gulf Company or it was a high back that got hit
Yes.
um, out outside the marketplace. And you guys did amazing what you guys did. So Navi was over there, I believe, with you guys, right?
Yes.
And I think it was somebody that came up to me and was like, Doc, the training that you gave us was invaluable. And I still get people nowadays that tells me, it's like, dude, I was in a club and this guy gets shot and I did this and it was pretty amazing. These are all the things you taught me. And I was able to save their lives. I was like, dude, that's good. That's
Yeah.
good.
I do remember going through those scenarios with you in the Hooch where
Mhm.
we were doing, I mean, now they have that whole American College of Surgeons campaign called
Yeah.
Stop the Bleed. And it's
Hmm.
funny, I laughed when I like read through it all and I went through it all with some different people. And it was identical. I was like, oh, this is exactly what we were
Yeah.
doing with the
Yeah.
corpsman in
Yeah.
2004. They
Yeah.
didn't do anything any different. It was, direct pressure and tourniquets and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah,
Yep.
that's
Absolutely.
all the same stuff.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. It was a it is a great learning experience, but at the same time, I wish I didn't have to go that far, but it was very invaluable throughout my whole career. as far as like being able to treat Marines. Like after that, I did 4 more deployments. You guys know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I did 4 tours. I actually got to the point where I actually volunteered in country to extend more. I did a 1-year tour over there.
Oh, wow.
I just didn't want to go back. That's how I dealt with things, you know. So people people deal with things like different ways. Like drinking, you know, doing all that stuff. I didn't do any of that stuff, so I just kept volunteering, just kept raising my hands, like, yeah, I'll go, I'll keep going. So
where else did you go?
All in Iraq. I went through a lot, like all the phases of Iraq. I went through. It was the CQB phase of it, the urban terrain, then it became a police action, and then it became a support action.
Right.
I went through all that. So
what years were you there, and what cities do you remember?
So I went to TQ. Then from TQ went to
TQ Taqadum Air Base.
Taqadum Air Base, yeah.
Okay.
Al Assad. I got dispatched out from there because I got attached to different units and stuff. I got attached to, I think the one in Al Assad. I was doing ops with CIA because that was a police action already. So we were actually doing, I was actually doing medical investigations and stuff, going out there looking at the injuries and stuff like that, writing it down. And at the same time, patrolling to try to get information on people.
Oh, interesting. What year was that?
That was in 06, I believe.
Okay. I was thinking that would be later, but that, okay. Yeah. 06.
Yeah. 06. Right? And then, man, 07 maybe.
This is what happens when you get old, man. It all starts to blend together.
Exactly. Yeah. But all the operators, like I've been to a MIT and PIT team, MIT, BIT, and PIT team, which is the Iraqi training team, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
I did coverage for that. I did that. I was a corner for that.
Were you teaching medical to the Iraqis?
Yes.
I bet that was very interesting, actually.
Oh, dude, it was hair raising trying to. Like these are the guys that actually you were like shooting at in 04, right? Next thing you know, you got these guys covering your back. Like, fuck, dude, I'm gonna die. I was just like stressed the fuck out.
You look familiar.
Yeah, no. So yeah, like whenever we go on patrols, I go in there with them. You know, like it was pretty hair raising. I did the police action, like medical investigation with CIA. What is it? Security, ISF, individual security forces for the big dogs. I actually did one for Barack Obama, actually, when he was like going around the country and stuff like that, campaigning before he became president.
Yeah, 2009, right? That was the presidential campaign. Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah.
I was in Baghdad at that time, and I remember.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was actually one of the stops we made is actually in Ramadi. So think about like going back to the place that you know it all started and stuff, and like, oh shit, all right. And remember, Radsky tore off like a limb off of this tree that we had in front of our hooch, right?
Yes.
And he planted it on the ground and started watering it every day.
Yes.
Right. That thing is gigantic now. It's huge. Yeah, that thing actually grew. It grew pretty big.
That's hilarious.
I went back over to Hurricane Point and I saw it. I was like, holy shit, what the fuck? It's a big ass tree now.
I forgot about that. We talk shit to that guy every day. He would go out and pour a canteen of water on that tree every day. Mm-hmm. He's like, I'm watering my pet, and like talk all kinds of shit. That's hilarious. I hope he listens to this and he gets a good laugh that his tree lived.
I hope so. Yeah.
He was the only one that was right.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. That's
awesome.
He was
pretty persistent. He's like, it's going to grow. It's going to grow into this gigantic tree. I was like, no, it's not. So every time, like, I think, who was it would actually try to pull it out? It was Groves that would try to pull it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They'd fight over it. And we'd go out and pee on it at night. We did all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that thing survived, dude.
Well,
So
not to drag you back to
yeah, go ahead.
2004, but I mean, obviously that's the focus of the podcast, but also if you wish to go through some of it, I'm curious when you used your medical skills some of the time or any memories you have of anything realistically. But do you remember the first time you treated anybody? So here, I'll try to jog your memory. The first time I remember our platoon, since we were in the same platoon, the first time I
Mhm.
remember our platoon getting to a place where anybody got hit was March
Mhm.
31st. We went out way north of the city on a different highway, and there were 5 Army Brigade engineers who had been hit by an IED, and that vehicle was destroyed. And as far as I know, those 5 guys were in pieces. But there were other casualties, people that were hit. I don't know if you had to treat them at that time.
I did, but I don't remember the actual injuries that they actually had. Was that the LAV one? No, it was the LAV, was
No, that
it?
was way later. This was a
It was way later.
Humvee column, and one of the Humvees got hit, and the 5 of the guys that were in that Humvee were dead right there.
Dude,
But other people got hit in the vehicle behind them. That was what I remember.
I treated so many that I don't even remember
Okay.
majority of
Well,
them.
then let's
Um,
go. What was the first one that you remember?
okay, I remember that what I just said as far as there's also those guys, the engineers, combat engineer guys up in
That's yeah,
Dam Road.
that's a great one. That
Oh yeah.
was if you wish to tell that story, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah,
That
then
was
there's
on that was later in the
Jeff,
deployment, but that was May 29th was when the engineers were hit on the IED.
May.
Yeah, it was
Okay,
yeah.
like a lot of these things are actually like when I was listening to Jesse's podcast, like he corrected some of my memory, because
Yeah.
like as far as Cohen actually getting blown out of there, I don't remember that. I don't remember him actually getting, like, he was on the ground right in front of the truck when he actually got hit. For the life of me, I thought it was when he was inside the truck that he actually got hit when and he was in the gun at the time.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I thought I remember pulling him out of the Humvee because that's when I saw, and I hope it was
Dude,
the
it's
injury
hard.
that he,
Memory is one of those things where you could both be wrong and you could both be right. And
yeah,
it's really
absolutely,
hard to know.
yeah,
Uh, all I know, and you're talking about when Morris got hit, specifically on April 4th. And Morris, to my understanding, again, I showed up after everything, but from what
yeah,
I saw of the vehicle and what you guys described, Morris was on the ground because he had already
yeah,
climbed out of the truck and he was hit in the back basically with that RPG. And it bounced like most of the impact he took, but some of it hit the truck. And
yeah,
that's
yeah.
Miranda was in the driver's seat, I guess,
Hmm.
and he got hit. And according to Jordan, Cohen was in the gun, but I didn't know that he was in the gun.
Yeah, see, those things right there is what I mean. Like, this thing is pretty therapeutic for me because it's actually like jogging some of the memories that I thought, you know, like I forgot or um, I have it in the wrong sequence or something like that, or
Sure.
I kind of mix everything up because like all those deployments, I'm actually mixing some of the deployments like after that into this one,
Of
which is
course. Of course.
crazy.
That's natural.
Yeah,
So,
so
so
let's go back to
you talked about the engineers on the dam. Let's
yes.
talk about that one first.
So it was crazy because I remember you guys like arguing and JD getting pissed off because he didn't want to do that op, right?
Hmm.
The reason why he didn't want to do that op because he didn't want to put us in danger because that road, that dam we called it Dam Road, right? That's what
Yeah.
it was.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like elevated from
Yes.
the actual main road. And I
Hmm.
think that's Route Michigan on that main road,
Main
correct?
road was Michigan. That's correct. And
Yeah.
this is the Habaniya Dam that was
Yes.
out east of the city of Ramadi, in between
Yeah.
Habaniya and Ramadi. The
Hmm.
elevated road that you're talking about is actually the dam itself. That
Yeah,
area,
absolutely.
the area just to the south of it, naturally flooded multiple
Mhm.
times a year, but definitely during the rainy season, and would trap hundreds of millions of gallons of water that all the farmers in the local area would siphon off and use for their fields.
Yeah.
And so what are the engineers were tasked to do was to clear that dam because there was intel that there was going to be somebody try to blow up the dam.
Mm-hmm.
And the task order we were given was to make sure that the engineers could walk down that dam with metal detectors.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you could go ahead and tell your part of what you saw the argument. I remember the argument because I remember arguing.
Yeah. JD was pissed off. He didn't want to do that because he didn't want to put us in danger. Because one, we're in an elevated position. A sniper can get us, no problem. Mm-hmm. Two, there was like blind areas on Route Michigan that a triggerman could be to actually set off the actual IED when we get closer. He didn't want to put trucks on top. So he ended up like, I guess you guys ended up like putting some of the trucks on Route Michigan and putting dismounts out away from Route Michigan to see if there's any triggerman that's actually going to be, like setting up IEDs on Route Michigan and on the damn road. I think it was my truck that actually ended up going up on the top of that route, on top of the damn road, and basically following the engineers. There was two engineers that was just following. And I keep overhearing it on the radio. It's like, hey, keep your distance. And it was Rabbit that was driving that truck.
Yep.
So
Hampton. Yeah.
Hampton. Yes. Yeah. Hampton was driving that truck. And he kept getting too close to them. JD and you kept yelling at him. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? Back up. So he'll back up. He's like, this is bullshit. It's just fucking, he had one leg hanging out. And he had like he had the door open, and I was patrolling. I was on foot, patrolling right next to the truck. So I was behind the actual door itself, and he just kept driving. This is fucking boring. He's just drinking the Gatorade, and he keep reaching back and grabbing some more Rippets and stuff. And I was like, hey, give me some of that, So I grabbed Rippet and just drinking Rippets while I patrol, because to my left, it's pretty much all open. You can see everything, right? So there is really nothing to worry about, right? And I had the truck to my right, so it was providing cover. Basically, I was just keeping an eye on the engineers. So JD, everybody kept yelling at Hampton to back away. So he would push his brakes, and he'd just wait until those guys actually, get a distance, and then he'll bound. Basically, that's what he was trying to do. I remember stopping because the engineer guys stopped, and both of them are over this low spot on the road that they keep going, like hearing some beeping on there, and they were like jabbing it with their shovels and stuff, right? And I looked over to the left, to make sure that there's nobody trying to take them out or anything. And then as soon as I looked over to the right, next thing I know, it just explodes, right? These guys were directly on top of that IED. And it was just like a cloud of dust. They disappeared, right? It was just a cloud of dust, and you couldn't even see them. One of the guys' thumb actually hits me on my flat, right? So as soon as that happened, I started running all the way. I started running towards that area. Not even caring about like a secondary IED or anything like that. I was just like, run. So I just started running, and the first person I saw was this one sergeant, I believe, and he just kept telling me, he's like, don't worry about me. This guy's pretty fucked up. I mean, I think his arm, his right arm was missing, and his right leg was gone. And I remember him telling me, he's like, don't worry about me, help him out. I was like, what the fuck? You're pretty fucked up yourself, but all right. So I go over and get to this guy and get to his buddy, and he was pretty gone. His legs were the crazy the way the blast hit him, because he was standing on top of the IED. The blast hit him from underneath and basically took all the meat off of his leg, his thigh, and just was gone, right? So there was like a couple of muscles still attached to his legs, but everything else in the inside was gone. It blew off, right? Now, IEDs, when they hit, it's actually a pretty dirty but clean injury at the same time, because it cauterizes wounds right away, right? Because the heat just cauterizes it. So like you see this burnt flesh and all that stuff, right? And I started grabbing this guy, and for some reason, he can still lift his leg up, right? And I was trying to put a tourniquet on him, and he just keeps lifting his leg up. So I had to grab his bone and just like put it down and actually sit on his legs for him to not move his thigh, because I was still, until I can actually get the tourniquet on him. So I put the tourniquet on him, and then I remember calling out and say, give me the stretcher. And I think it was Rabbit that pulled up and got the stretcher out. And we put it down on the ground, got this guy on there. But at that time, Natividad, the other corpsman, was actually there already, and he was treating the other guy. So the guy was, the person I was treating, he was losing a lot of blood. So I think he was losing a lot of blood. I put the tourniquet on, stopped the bleeding, and I tried to give him, I attempted to give him morphine, but when I gave him morphine, the injector was upside down. So I put my thumb right over the injector, right? I put my thumb right over that injector, and I jabbed it in there. I was like, oh, fuck. I see the needle go through my actual nail. I was like, oh, shit, I done fucked up. So next thing I know, I pulled up a little bit, and then it emptied out of my thumb. My thumb just like fucking swelled up like crazy. It was huge, right? And
what's funny is you didn't seem to care about your thumb being huge.
No. But we got this guy in the stretcher, and luckily there was Bradley's that was actually in the area. We got this guy loaded up in a Bradley, and they took him straight back to.
I think you messed that memory up, my friend, because we did not.
Which one?
You stuck the guy. You stuck the guy with the tourniquet thighs in my truck, in the back of my truck, and the guy with the missing arm and missing leg went in the back of either your vehicle or Hardin's vehicle. But Hardin jumped in the vehicle, and we drove them to Combat Outpost.
Okay. I thought for some reason it was Bradley that pulled up.
Not for that op. And the only reason why, and here is why I remember.
Yeah.
It's probably the morphine.
Well, I was gonna say,
yeah, exactly.
You actually have a really good reason not to remember. I was oscillating between terror because the guy you put in my truck, his eyes were missing. Most of the muscle of the one side of his chest was missing. You could see exposed bone. Your description was very apt. As I remember, his right thigh was open like a book all the way down to the bone. You had put a tourniquet on it, but all the muscle was just wide open. And it literally looked like a fanned out encyclopedia. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. And both of his eyes were gone. He was blind, but he was still able to talk.
Yeah.
And the whole way back, he was issuing his last rites, essentially. He was saying, please tell my wife that, I did well, I'm very sorry, and I don't think I'm going to make it, and all this stuff. And we're yelling at him, no, you're going to make it. You're going to be fine. Not having any clue if he's going to make it. He looked, that was the worst thing I had seen to that point. And that was even after April, after seeing all those other guys get wounded. But that was the worst overall wounding I had seen. I don't remember what happened to the other casualty, but me and Hardin linked up at Combat Outpost and brought the vehicles back. But that was the same day where after we came back, Sledgehammer, which was Blake's platoon, was at the Arches, and they were securing Route Michigan at the Arches. And we drove past that VBIED that later got the Echo QRF highback and blew them up on the road.
It was on that same day?
That was on the same day, sir. That was a
right.
very busy day. So right after we got all of our guys together after evacuating the engineers, we went up to the cemetery mountain and we're parked up there. And that's when the VBID got the high back, and we drove down with Lieutenant Wells, and everybody was treating everything.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay. Wow. That's memories really, really mixed up. Okay.
Well, you've been busy for 20 years. It's easy to get things a little bit confused. I only have this one medical memory of Bundy injecting himself with morphine and being high for the next 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah. So anyways, I do remember when it actually kicked in, because I remembered all the stuff prior to that. And then we get him on the stretcher, and I was on the front of the litter on the front right. And we're running. And I remember just straining. I was like, oh, fuck, I'm having a hard time breathing, because we're running. We got this guy, and I'm trying to keep in step with everybody else, because if you don't keep in step, obviously got the casualties going to fall. And on top of that, we were going downhill because it's pretty steep,
huge, steep incline. Yeah. It's a dam.
Yeah, exactly. So, and we were trying to run him down over there, and we got to keep in step, in order to not lose the patient to the evac vehicle. And it was when we got to the bottom of that decline that all of a sudden everything just started slowing down. It was like, I was like, oh yeah, it's kicking in. So, well, they give us 2 morphines. So just, for situations like that. Well, it's not really meant for situations like that, but I ended up giving them the other morphine, but it was just like my breathing just started slowing down, and everything was just all in slow motion. I was just smiling for some reason. I don't know why. Yep. And got to that
high
point.
As shit.
Yeah, I was high as fuck. I was high as shit. And I remember
I'm not a doctor, but I know why.
I keep looking down on my thumb, and it's like, oh my God, that thing's gigantic. It's just I was looking down while I'm running, looking down on my thumb. It's like, oh my God, that is huge, And I just it was hyper focused on my thumb. Right.
That's what I remember, laughing at you, then looking over and being horrified at the guy you're loading in my truck.
Yeah.
And then laughing at you and what the fuck is going on? And you were just giggling. Oh my God. It was the weirdest, most surreal moment ever.
Yeah. I remember Big Boy coming up to me, after we got him loaded up, and I guess you guys took him back to the rear. Big Boy, going up to me, he's like, are you okay, Doc? He's like, no, not at all. I was like, I'm not okay. And he's like, what happened? And I showed him my thumb. It was gigantic, right? He's like, I stuck myself with morphine. He's like, oh fuck, that thing is huge.
If you like what you've heard, this is a multi-part episode. Make sure you listen to the rest of the story.